Welcome to the Lummy Sports Show with Brian the Babyface Matroni. Brian, hello. Hello, Brian. Oh, hey, man, how's it going? Yeah, let's talk about stats. Lightning. Brian is running a little behind. Roger Dawson, I tried to buy him a little bit more time. It's actually a pretty good little roadie free song. Yeah, Brian Babyface will finish his story from this morning, so that should take up about half the show. I guess he just texted me. He said he's running a little behind for our 4 o'clock. I saw Roger Dawson in here. He's like, hey, things must run a little slower on a Gulf Coast time. They do. I was here a little early. Then Brian obviously started the show, put the music on. Might have been, 4:01? I remember me burning this one. This is good. But yeah, a lot of big things happening. Brian should be here shortly. I'm sure he'll run in. Oh, he ran out. I'm sure he'll run right in. Hello, Big Red. Donkey Teeth, everybody that's tuning in. Brian should be here shortly. He'll probably run in with his little cup. I'm kind of excited that Brian said he'll do like a little drinking Friday. Brian's he's fun when he's able to let loose, hang out at a last time was that a baseball game? Oh, Brian is here, Babyface, the lawyer to the superstars. What's up, Brian? There's his cup, dressed like he just got off of 18 holes over at Pebble Creek. Yep. Oh, he's got to get his microphone. Oh, I thought that was set up. I swear, Brian. I don't know why that was disconnected anyhow. Oh, I'm sabotaging you. It's okay, buddy. We're holding it down. We just had a really good royalty-free beat going on. I just wanted to hit on at that 4 o'clock. You're on now?
What's up?
Hey,
how we doing?
What's up, Brian? 813-90-BUBBA, 813-90-BUBBA. Sorry, I was trying to pick it up. I'll give Brian a second to get set up.
I'm good. I'm ready to go. I can do the show with my eyes closed.
813. 813?
Yes, sir.
How's it going?
Good. Hey, Lummy. Hey, Brian.
How's it going?
What do you guys think about? The Lightning really came from behind and won 2 games. I think they're in their head now, in the Rangers' head.
Well, I'll leave it to
I think it's great.
I'll leave it to the one guy who likes to take it from behind. Go ahead, Lummy.
Oh, okay. Yes, thank you very much. I 100% agree with you. I think the Rangers were feeling good coming down here to Tampa. They were up 2-0 going into that second period. I felt they were real confident, and then the Lightning just took it. And as Brian said, they have not scored a single goal since the second period without a power play.
Yeah, 5v5
right.
was a minute and 13 into the third period of game number 2 was the last 5v5 goal that the Rangers scored. So if the Lightning can stop turning the puck over, which they did these 2 games, and stop committing penalties, then they will win. There's no way that the Rangers can just beat them with their special teams alone if the Lightning aren't taking excessive penalties.
And if the Lightning come out, score the first goal, I think that's going to And as Brian said, they're a year ahead of schedule on the playoffs, and I think that it's going to mind F the younger, the Rangers. They're not used to it. I think the Lightning are confident. I think the Rangers are going to fold if the Lightning get up 1. Obviously 2, I think it's definitely over. I think they'll come back down here to Tampa, go to the strip clubs like the Panthers, and wait for next season.
All right. Thanks, guys.
Take care.
How you doing, Lummy?
Good. Hold on, 561, man. We had 5-6 calls out of the block.
Wow.
Hey, Babyface, Lummy.
Hey, what's up?
Hey, love it. Talked to you guys about a couple weeks ago in regards to the Orioles and MLB, but I happened to take a look at something that I wanted to get your opinion, Babyface. I mean, when you take a look at MLB as a league, and you kind of referenced it the other day, I mean, how can you have a league where you have a payroll for one team of $270 million or whatever it was for the Mets, and then you look at the Orioles and their payroll is $30 million? Now, how can you have a competitive league to pay talent with that disparity?
You can't. Now, there is a certain point a diminishing return on spending, where the more money you spend, you don't necessarily get better. So I don't think the lack of a salary cap hurts Major League Baseball as much as a lack of a floor.
Yes.
If they just had a floor where they said each team has to spend at least $80 million and we're going to adjust it 5% each year, whatever it may be, I think you solve a lot of the competitive issues, because then you wouldn't have a team like the Braves being able to get up to a $308 million payroll if teams like the Baltimore Orioles were forced to spend $35 million more a year. They would have to go out and get these free agents.
And the crazy thing too is the right now the teams that are kind of salary dumping are bigger markets. I know it's not Cincinnati, it's not sexy Pittsburgh, but they do sell. They have that corporate ticket sales, unlike the Rays do. I mean, the Rays really depend on individuals, where those teams, I mean, you look at the stadiums, they don't really sell. They have that corporate backing, and they're still able to, they could easily have, a $70, $80 million payroll and still be making money?
Every team in baseball could have an $80 million payroll and not need a single fan to come through the turnstiles and be profitable, because of the national TV deals and their local TV deals. So there is no excuse for a Major League Baseball owner to not be spending at least $80 million. Now, with that being said, there's only 4 teams that are under that threshold right now: the Pirates, the Cleveland, Oakland, and Baltimore. You look at how those teams are doing. Baltimore is 24-33. Oakland is 20-37. The Pirates are 24-30, not too shabby, overachieving for sure there. And then who did I say the other one was? Cleveland. Cleveland, obviously 25-26, not doing too badly either.
Where's Cincinnati?
Cincinnati actually has a payroll.
Do they?
Yeah,
because I know they cut
a ton, but
they started signing players.
Yeah, their 25-man payroll is at $68 million.
Oh wow!
Yeah, it's actually.
But don't you think there needs to be some sort of parity like the NFL does and NBA does? There needs to be some sort of payroll sort of parity, because I don't necessarily know there's another professional sports league that's like baseball in that realm.
Well, there's not.
Or am I wrong?
There's not. I mean, there's no other professional sports league that doesn't have a salary cap and players' contracts are 100% guaranteed. That's for sure. NHL, the players' contracts are 100% guaranteed, but they have a cap and a floor. I think the cap this season was 82.5 and the floor was 60 million or so. The problem is the Major League Baseball Players Union is the Players Association is so strong, and they, through their collective bargaining agreements, they keep blocking this. And quite frankly, the owners, the top end owners aren't necessarily interested in a hard salary cap. I think a fair way to do it would be, a $225 million cap with an $80 million floor, but you're still talking about a huge disparity, right? I mean, even at an $80 million floor, you've only got like 4 or 5 teams that are spending less than that. Now, if you're talking about active roster and not injured reserve and dead money and all of that, buried money, it's a little bit, more in terms of teams that are rolling out rosters onto the field that are less than $80 million. Minnesota right now, their active roster is 63.5. You've got Cincinnati at 68. You've got Kansas City at 75, Tampa Bay at 60, Arizona at 69. So you've got a bunch of teams that are under 80 when you're not counting injured reserve and buried money and things like that, and retained money from trades.
I think more teams would be comfortable instead of 80. I think they'd be comfortable at 60. Because that seems like where a lot of teams have been sitting.
There's only like 2 teams that are not hitting that.
I know, but I'm saying
3.
That's where it seems like they're all kind of sitting right at 60.
Yeah, but having that as a floor is useless, because you're talking about maybe 6 guys, 6 free agents going from other teams to those teams that aren't at the threshold. It just doesn't do much for the competitive balance of the sport.
But it starts somewhere, though. At least it gives you a floor.
Can I bring up one other quick subject, and I'll let you guys go. One other thing, and it relates to sort of a fan experience, and I brought up a few weeks ago. I mean, like, for example, I'll give you a perfect example. This weekend, I live in West Palm Beach. I'm going to the Kid Rock concert on Friday night. I know he's going to be in Tampa on Saturday.
I'm going to.
So parking alone parking alone for this concert. We're going to West Palm Beach Amphitheater. Parking alone, $60. That's parking. Now add into tickets, add into alcohol, food, and all that. I mean, if you're bringing, and I relate this to sports and everything else. At some point in time, the amount of money you're paying players, and I mean, the fan experience and the amount of affordability of people, an average family going out to a game, a concert, whatever it happens to be, starts becoming outrageous when you talk about the price, $25 for a beer. You know, I mean, like at some point in time, there's got to be a ceiling for what the average person can pay to go to a sporting event. With parking and everything else.
But you got to remember, this is what Brian said though. They don't care because that's all extra.
Yeah,
because of the TV revenue money.
Well,
they don't. I mean, they
he's
care.
talking about on the concert side though. But he
said about sports too.
But take it from a concert's perspective, they set the price based upon what the market will bear. Are you going to pay $60 for parking?
I am, but I'm also meeting. I am going to pay it. I'm also meeting about 10 of the people there, and we're all going to tailgate and have a good old time. And but yeah, we decided to go ahead and pay it. Yeah.
Yeah.
But, I mean,
so that's the point. They're not worried that a family gets to go to the concert. They just are worried that the 15,000 seats they have to sell get sold. That's all they care about. It's a bottom line business, man. And so that's the way it is in sports too. Now there comes a point. The difference in sports is that you need kids going there to build your future fan base, right? You know, Kid Rock doesn't really care if there's a lot of kids at his concert because he's not going to be, he may try to keep rocking for 20 or 30 years more, but it's not going to last. He's riding his MAGA wave for one last concert tour to take a little bit more money from people, but with his mediocre, really trash garbage music.
Brian, we're going back to sports here. Yeah, I'm going to it Saturday.
We'll agree to disagree, but
so your position is that Kid Rock is an excellent musician and singer?
Brian, on the point of
he's worth $150 million.
Yeah, there's a lot of people that are rich who are not talented. Don't equate success with talent because they are not necessarily the same thing.
Listen, on the whole kids thing with Brian, the teams, the Rays and the Bucks, they do good things for the kids to get them into the game to make it a little cheaper. Kids days, get free giveaways, things like that. Because I think, like Brian said, they know they have to bring the kids in.
You got to cultivate your fan base, and so you've got to grow it. And the best ways to do that is with the kids club and the running the bases and this shit like that.
Yeah, get them to to like it, so then they can start spending their money. But realistically, the Rays don't really care. I mean, they'll charge their $30 for parking, their $15 for beer, sports wise. I mean, look at the Bucks. I mean, do you think the Bucks give a crap? No. They'll only start giving a crap.
I'll let you guys go.
All right, man. Thanks.
Yeah.
Hi, Brian.
Hey, how excited amped are you for what's your favorite Kid Rock song, man? I know it's so hard to choose them all. I mean, you got Ball with the Ball. You've got that one that he did with Sheryl Crow where he sang terribly.
There's a lot of good songs.
What's your favorite Kid Rock song? What would you say is his best work?
Let's go with Summertime or Summer. His
rip off of the Leonard Skinner one, right?
Yeah, everyone rips everyone off.
Yeah, what do you think Kid Rock's background is?
813.
No,
I know what his background is.
Yeah, it's a millionaire family.
His dad had a car dealership.
and he grew up in a mansion, but he talks about coming out the trailer.
Yeah,
he's such a fucking poser. I can't believe people listen to that shit.
813. All summer long.
Oh, it's such a terrible song.
Yeah.
Now, that was his best song. I will say that. That absolutely 100. His first song was his best song. He should have stopped right there.
No. What's up, 813?
What's up, man?
Oh, it's Hootie.
If you didn't pick up the fucking phone line, I swear to God, I was going to get the dump trailer and drive it right through your house, Richard's house, like the fence. Like, I was going to fuck up the whole yard. I ain't gonna lie.
Well, thank you. So what's on your mind sports-wise there, Hootie?
Back motherfucker.
Yeah.
I don't know. Hey, babyface, how's it going, man?
How's it going, man? You sound pretty angry.
Nah, it was just me and Lummy chit-chat.
Oh, American Badass is good, too.
He's rude.
He called me when we were on the show.
Well.
And I didn't pick up.
In his defense.
Yeah.
So you got him now. What do you got to talk about?
I don't even know.
You just called in to yell at him?
Law? Do you even practice law? Because you know more about sports than, like, anybody I know. I mean,
I do practice law, and
like one case a year, and then but no 4 hours of
one case, yes.
Tampa Bay Lightning, and what you got going, man?
Well, the Lightning play 8 to 11, and then I've got an hour to calm down after the game where I'm reading stats and everything online, and I just happen to retain a lot of what I read. So that's all, and I'm very opinionated. That's it. That sums it up, man.
No, you know a lot about a lot. I just,
Thanks, man. I appreciate that. And Lummy's pretty good about responding on the cell phone. If he's not responding to you, I'll hold him to account, okay?
And I did respond to him. I said we're currently doing a sports show. But Hootie, you know what, buddy? I'll call you right after. We got full phone lines here on the Lummy Sports Show. Lummy and Brian Sports Show. Line
Whatever.
2.
I don't need acknowledgement.
It doesn't matter. I was reading the title. 239.
Hey, Lummy, Brian, what's up?
What's up, Mike?
Hey, you guys watch Sunday Morning ever?
Sunday morning soccer?
Show?
No,
the CBS show every Sunday morning.
No, the one that has that little sun logo. I only catch it. I only catch it like not very often, man. I don't watch a lot of network television at all.
It's actually pretty good. It's not like bought and paid for it, but. I don't know if you guys are familiar with the Savannah Bananas.
Yes, actually, when I was on Bubba's show last Thursday, I brought it up because Bubba said he wanted to own 100%.
Yeah, he did.
Because Bubba said he wanted to own a sports franchise, and I said if you owned one, you would be like the owner of the Savannah Bananas.
About?
Yeah.
You see, the problem with it, Brian, too, is that he couldn't get it.
You should check it out, man. They did a whole special on them.
Yeah, well, see, I tried to send him videos, but Brian, you know how their TikTok goes. They have like 500 TikToks, and you have to watch almost all of them.
Yeah,
But if you go to just like the Sunday morning and just get the little 5-minute segment they did, it's really good. And I thought you guys would get a kick out of that.
Yeah, no, they're hilarious, and I like their antics. It's perfect for, that level of baseball. That's the amount of seriousness you need to take when you're playing at that level.
Yep.
It's independent league. These are guys that are hoping to maybe make a tryout for an A-League baseball club.
There's also guys that have played in like the minors and
didn't make it, and they're just looking to have something to do.
Yeah, and some possible major leaguers.
Below the minors?
Yes. Yeah. It's where you pretty much go if you pretty much you get cut from the minors and you got to go play in like a little lower, and maybe a team will pick you up, as Brian said, for rookie or A-ball. Yeah,
you try and just keep yourself relevant and have some tape and everything, but they have fun with it, so that's good.
Yeah, like in Slade, Slade did the same thing when the A's wanted him to play first base and he got cut. He went to an independent league to kind of go practice. Like, he went there to go play A-ball.
Every 10 years or so, you hear about a guy who emerged from the independent league and makes it to the big show, but it's not very often.
Not at all.
No, and like you were saying also how, we just wish, a couple months to go by so everybody can get their wins or losses in and we can see where we stand with MLB, because it's just kind of this, no man's land right now.
The Rays have the horses coming back to the stable. So Shane Baz has been recalled. Ryan Yarborough was optioned to minor league baseball, to AAA Durham. That was a very painful decision. Kevin Cash and the clubhouse guys love him, but he has been stinking up the joint, pitching his way to an 0-3 record with a 5.65 ERA. Just had a terrible outing his last time out against the White Sox and allowed 6 runs in, I think, 4 innings with eight hits and 3 walks.
His ball looks flat. No
He's
movement.
just,
like you said, it's just very interesting with all the trades that happen in the off season.
Yeah,
how many different teams are good now, and there's so many teams around 500 right now.
Well, that's typical in baseball. You got a lot of teams that are 500. You usually have 2 or 3. I think with the extra wild card, it does lead teams that would normally be tanking to try and compete a little bit, because you can at least get some playoff money, and if you're an owner, and maybe it makes it a little bit worthwhile to try and compete. But thanks for the call, man. We're going to keep talking some baseball here since we're on the subject.
Yep.
Shane Baz coming back. Louis Patino finally making it to AAA Durham, so he's going to be pitching some build-up games and innings there to try and make his way back to the big league roster for the Rays. But they did it. They held they held the fort while the arms were recovering, and it looks like they're going to get back. And I see the Rays, continuing to play right around 600 baseball, and they're going to make the playoffs.
Yeah,
again.
I mean, the Yankees are hot right now.
The Yankees are beyond hot, man. They are.
Aaron Judge is looking like a MVP candidate.
I mean, the run prevention, 160 runs allowed. Are you kidding me? Their run differential is insane. Now, granted, the Dodgers have an even better run differential, but the Dodgers and the Yankees look like they're on a collision course. Toronto's starting to put it together, though. And that was my fear for the Rays. Early on, the Red Sox are putting it together as well.
Houston's playing that pretty.
Well,
easy
Houston's going to run away with that
Yeah.
division now, and the firing of Madden, really helps. I think the Rays and takes away one of the competitions for the wild card. It's really, at this point, by my judgment, it's between Cleveland, Boston, Tampa Bay, and Toronto for those wild cards, and I think all three are going to come out of the AL East. It's hard to do because you play so many games against each other, but I really do think that the AL East is going to have 4 teams in the playoffs.
Yeah, it's crazy how close that is, and then you look at the rest, and the first place teams are running away with it, and then the other ones are pretty much battling 500. And then the other manager that got fired was the Phillies, but I know you weren't really you weren't really counting them in, but since they fired Joe Girardi.
They've won 5 in a row.
5 in a row, Uncle Joe.
Yeah, and the Braves have won 6 in a row to kind of, they're still 8 games back, which is a tremendous deficit to be in less than 60 games into the season. But, anything can happen, right?
Oh, 100%. I mean, right now it looks like the easiest. If you look at just the standings now, the Astros, like you said, are going to walk away with it with a 9.5 game. I'm interested to see if what the NL Central is going to look like.
Yeah, that's probably the most competitive and
just average.
It's just 2 teams though. It's just St. Louis and Milwaukee. That's it. The rest of them are not. I mean, Pittsburgh, Chicago, and Cincy are 3 of the worst teams in baseball. They're not going to be competing.
Pittsburgh's overachieving right now.
Yeah, and they'll. I mean,
it's insane that they have 189 runs scored with 268.
Yeah, they've been outscored by 79, and they're only 6 games below. Which means that when they lose horribly, and when they win, they're barely winning. But yeah, they're destined to be a 90 loss plus team. For sure.
Are you a little surprised and I know it's not a sexy team, but the Nationals are the worst team in the East?
Not really. They lost pretty much everything. I mean, they've got nothing. Who do they even have left? Do they still have Juan Soto?
I thought they had Soto.
Or do they have 2 Sotos now?
Well, they got what's his name back too.
They have Josh Bell and Juan Soto. Those are their 2 offensive powerhouses right now for them.
And Steve. Well, then they got Steve Cishek, the relief pitcher.
Oh,
he's a stud.
Yeah, absolute.
Nelson Cruz, DH. He came in here and really. Strasburg came back. He's making his season debut Thursday.
Wow! Add another win onto their season total. That's good.
I mean, I don't know,
dude. They're this is not the same team they were 3 years ago. I mean, this is a depleted roster, and that's being nice.
Well, I was gonna say too. Do you see Martinez getting fired?
Yeah.
Do you think they'd bring in a Joe Madden? Where do you think those guys?
If I'm Joe Madden, I'm not taking that job. If I'm Joe Madden, I want either the White Sox because they have a roster I can win with, or I would consider. I mean, you seem to think Philly's decent.
I do,
but they've seemed to have got their replacement there, and they're doing well, so they're not going to go a different direction. But if I'm the White Sox and I can get Madden right now, I'm cutting La Russa loose and bringing in Madden. La Russa's a little too old school for this game. The game's passed him by.
Is that kind of what happened with Girardi, you think? I know he tried to get into more of the new school with, listening to the upstairs, but he still has that old school mentality.
Yeah. I don't know really, what happened with Girardi and why he's failed as a coach, but he's got a track record now. He's not really a winner.
Yeah, which is pretty surprising.
I mean, not totally, but
I guess you could say that
you can be a hard-nosed. You can be a hard-nosed player and still not be a good head coach. I mean, just because you're a tough player doesn't mean you're a good coach, or you would be a good coach.
Well, I was saying that obviously it must be just the Yankees rub then, when he won, when he was doing all his winning, was with the Yankees.
Yeah, I mean, he had the World Series, and that was it, though. I mean, he underachieved pretty much every single season after that. And so, I mean, you look at the end of his tenure with the Yankees, 85-77, 84-78, 87-75, 84-78. I mean, that's not acceptable when they're spending the money that they're spending.
No, that little Joe Madden run-in that you had.
Yeah.
Did you kind of pick his brain?
It was a really cool meeting with him. So the situation was this: I was out. I had just gotten done with a dinner date, and I typically would go out afterwards and trolling for women. And
nice.
So I went to the rack, and I sat at the bar, or I was going to sit at the bar, and I saw Joe Madden there, and he had the bullpen coach at the time, and another coach with him.
The pitching coach, right? He always went out and drank with
the
him.
pitching coach and the bullpen coach were there. And there was a lady at the bar who was really trying to hit on Joe Madden. Like, he's literally, while he's talking to her, rolling around and playing with his wedding band like this, and she just kept hitting on him and everything.
So he was pretty much putting it out there, hey, I'm married.
Like pretty much leave me alone. So she got up to go to the bathroom, and she had she had gotten up to go to the bathroom and had finished her drink, but she was coming back. And Joe Madden goes to me, have a seat.
Oh,
and
nice.
I go, oh no, she's there. I don't. He goes, no, please sit there. And so I sat down right next to him. And he goes, thank you. He goes, she was really bothering me. And I go, no problem. I said, I don't want to bother you. He goes, you won't be a bother at all. So we started talking about just coaching and philosophy. And I asked him who he looked up to in the coaching world. He said Phil Jackson, kind of that Zen cerebral approach to the game. Mike Krzyzewski was another one that he mentioned. Because I think I asked him at one point if you could have dinner with three coaches and talk to him. And I think he said Lombardi, Jackson, and Krzyzewski.
Huh.
Yeah.
Lombardi kind of doesn't seem like he flows with that crew, though.
No, but I think it's the winning and the excellence and how you achieve it, right?
Gotcha.
Because when you get to that level, there's different ways to do it, and he recognizes that. But it was a really cool conversation. We talked probably for about a half hour, 45 minutes before he and his friends left.
Was he sipping on the wine? He's a big wine sipper.
He just sipper, literally a sipper. He wasn't, his the bullpen coach was a nut. He was doing shot after shot.
Oh, he liked to drink.
Yeah, the Hispanic guy.
He had 2 DUIs by that time.
Yeah. So he was a pretty heavy drinker, but no, it was cool. It was fun. It was a neat experience. I'm not a star fucker. Like I don't see famous people out and get all excited and go bother them. That's not my deal.
I mean,
at all.
that's not that you. I mean, if you know anything, they don't want to be bothered. They don't want to hear your stories. I mean, let them talk to you if anything.
And really, that's it. And they don't really want to talk to me. And so I put myself in their shoes. I'm like, dude, would I want me coming up to them? And I'm like, no, there's no way. So I don't bother famous people. I mean, when we used to go out to lunch at Chicho and Tony's, when it was back called Chicho and Tony's before it was called Water on South Howard there. I mean, I can't tell you, pretty much every lunch I was there, Alex Rodriguez or Derek Jeter or Tino Martinez, all of the Yankees were down there. Obviously they spring here and then they live here. So, but there was an understanding, and that's why players loved the Tampa Bay area so much, because there's an understanding in this community that you don't go up and bother the players in public.
Yeah.
You don't go hassle them for an audit. Like, they couldn't go out to a meal like that in New York. And first of all, paparazzi would be following them. Everything they do would be, caught on tape, here in Tampa, they get to live their life. So I totally get the appeal, not just from the weather and the taxes and the people, but I get the appeal of living in the Tampa Bay area for a professional athlete, because it's not like you have all those big town privileges without all of the problems. And so, yeah, I mean, Jeff had a zero tolerance policy. If you were a customer and went up and bothered one of his other customers,
you're out.
You got warned.
Oh, okay.
And, he would be nice. He'd just say, look, we don't do that here. They're allowed to eat their meal. That's that. And then if they ever, if they didn't abide by that or push back, then, yeah, he would kick them out. And I've seen him. I saw him actually kick out somebody before for bothering them.
I mean, that's what you should do. I mean, there's always, like you said, a written rule, but I feel the good thing with Tampa is we're like that small town feel where you're glad they're here, and so you're like, yeah, we don't want to bother them. We want them to keep, we want them to stay here. The problem I see is that a lot of the different people that are moving into the, the city and state, it's going to change it a lot, because I've already seen it when certain players are out now, especially with social media. Everybody wants a picture. Everyone wants to hunt them down, and it's just like it's going to change it.
I'm referencing a time before before social media was so big. Facebook was there, but it wasn't quite the level that it is now, where everybody's just living and dying by it and chasing clout and. But yeah, no, you're right. It's probably a little bit different now, but I'd like to think, based upon what I've heard players commenting about liking the area and everything like that they're still respected. That's part of the anonymity that hockey players enjoy, because very few people know what they actually look like.
Oh, yeah. They look like regular guys
without their beard and without their equipment and gear on, Now, I think Tampa Bay, because they've maintained their roster for so long, those guys are the exception. But back in the day, most people in Tampa couldn't name 3 Lightning players. Go back to 2006, 2007. They couldn't name 3 dudes on the roster.
You mean like when Pupa was walking around, no one cared about him?
Yeah, I mean, go back to even to 2000. Forget about it. Other than like Brian Bradley, nobody knew anybody.
Still, I mean, I was somewhat of a hockey fan there at that point, and I couldn't tell you, what he looked like. No. Because most of those guys are, 6'2", they're just in good shape.
Yeah, they're not imposing physical figures. Like you see an NBA player, other than a guard, you can kind of tell that, NFL guys are huge.
Yeah. Hedman sticks out for a hockey player here.
Yeah, Hedman, Vazzy's a big dude. 6'3", sticks out. So you see a guy like that, you'll take notice. But I think I may have seen, the night before Game 4, I think it was Sunday. I think Game 4 against the Panthers was on. Oh no, Game 3 was on a Sunday,
and then it was
and then Game 4 was on Tuesday. Yeah. So my wife and I went out to Meat Market in Soho, in Hyde Park, on that Sunday night, and we went in. We had a patio table, but when we went inside to use the restroom before we left, we walked past a table, and I'm fairly certain. But again, this is the tough part. I could name you a table of Lightning players. I'm fairly certain that it was a table of Panthers having dinner at Meat Market and before they went out for their little strip club night. Yeah, that's why when I heard the story, I'm like, that like kind of reconfirmed it for me. I was like, that was almost assured. There's like 8 dudes, all like 6'1", 6'2", looked like they were in good shape. They had beards, so playoff hockey beards and stuff. So if I knew them their roster better, I might have been able to identify them.
Oh, it's too bad. You should have went with that story and been like, yeah, I was buying them shots. I got them a little drunk, and then they asked me, like, where's a good place to go?
We were up 3-0 at that point. I don't think we needed to do anything.
Well, they came up to you, Brian, were like, oh, where's the entertainment? And you're like, oh, the dollhouse. And next thing you know, you called Warren down to the dollhouse.
I directed him to the dollhouse.
Yeah, you got him VIP status. Brian, you did that for the Lightning.
Yep.
You should have taken
I actually went
picture.
out with him and partied with him too for the Lightning.
Yeah, thank you, Brian.
I told my wife this is for the Lightning,
and she was like, "Okay, go
She's
for
like,
it.
Go. You got to do what you got to do, man.
Just get an Uber home. You'll be good to go."
I'm hooking up with this stripper in the champagne room for the Lightning.
Yes, and these guys think I'm, a Lightning fan. I got to do it.
And then they won the next game. So then every night before game, I had to go out and hook up with a stripper for the Lightning. So they could win.
Yeah, I can only imagine that one.
Yeah.
You just travel around with them.
I got to do it. It's for the Lightning.
No, you got to do it. You got to give them a win.
It's superstitious.
What 3 coaches would you want to sit down with and talk if you could?
Definitely Coach K.
All right.
Man, I think Popovich would be a little more entertaining than Jackson.
Yeah, I think Phil Jackson would be dry.
And I think Popovich is every bit as good of a coach as Phil Jackson. And so probably Greg Popovich. And trying to think who the third was. I mean, I love Jim Leavitt, but I got to hang out and talk to him.
Oh, fuck him.
You know?
Yeah, great. Yeah. It's a boring conversation. Just bring Diet Coke and donuts and
Diet Pepsi, dude. You didn't drink Diet Coke.
Diet Pepsi, yeah. Diet Pepsi and donuts.
And it's actually just Pepsi. It's not Diet. It's regular
That's
Pepsi.
true.
But
Yeah.
whatever. You don't know him very well.
I don't.
Not like I do.
No, he's a douchebag.
He's a good guy. And
Jerry Glanville?
No, I don't. The third one's tough for me because there's a lot of interesting guys. You know, Joe Madden, but I got to already talk to him. He's interesting. You look, they're, you know, Major League Baseball is not that, like, I think the managers used to have a huge effect on the game, but the personality of the managers isn't exactly fun. I would go with John Cooper. You know, he seems like fun, and he's an attorney also.
Yeah, you guys can talk about attorney stuff.
Yeah, he was a public defender, so a little bit different, but yeah, maybe that. So who are your three?
I'd have to say probably baseball, Jim Leland.
Ugh. Boring as fuck.
Boring as fuck. He's old school, you know.
He's like 90, isn't he?
Yeah, but he still throws them back. So
the smell of urine at the table would kind of turn me off from my dinner.
That would be the smell of Marlboro Reds.
Yeah.
You know, but he throws back the old, the old Jack. You know, he would drink the beer after.
Okay, so Jim Leland.
Yep. If I want to do football, I'd probably have to say John Gruden.
Ask him what else was in those emails.
I think he'd be an interesting guy to talk to. He seems like he'd be fun too to talk. Don't you think?
I interviewed him back in the day.
Did you?
Yeah, when the Diacos were on the sports show and Bubba, obviously his star was shining a little brighter. We used to get some incredible guests.
Gruden came on?
We had Norman Schwarzkopf.
I remember that one.
We had Gruden. We had Dungy. We had
Gruden. That was on the phone though, right?
Yeah. Not in none of these people were in studio. It was all phones. Yeah, we had quite a few.
I remember the Norman Schwarzkopf.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I think tossing back a couple with John Gruden, and then you got Leland.
So Jim Leland, John Gruden, and who's your fourth?
I'd probably have to go with someone. Probably Jimmy Johnson.
That'd be a fun one, yeah.
I think because he seems charismatic.
Well, Andy's done college and the NFL, so he can have a lot of perspective. Andy was at the dirtiest college football program there was, so he'd probably have some good fucking stories.
And then also the Cowboys with some.
He's on two of the dirtiest organizations in sports. Yeah,
exactly.
That'd be fun.
I mean,
that's a good one.
Yeah, you just sit back and kind of talk to him. Because he seems very, I mean, obviously TV, but I feel like that's him in real life.
I've heard stories about him that he's extremely affable and personable, and yeah, I might switch out Coops for Jimmy Johnson. Now that you mention
like you said, yeah, like he even at Oklahoma State coming up, and then Miami. I'd love to hear those Miami stories.
Yeah,
like the different calls and the different things that never came out in the media.
Oh yeah,
and just like the Cowboys, they would have the White House back then, and he knew about it. I mean, how could you not know about it?
If you didn't know about it, you're a piss poor head coach.
Well, that was probably Barry Switzer, though.
Oh yeah, that's true.
Because I don't think that guy knew anything at the time. But no, I mean I think those type of guys. I mean, I was almost thinking Raheem Morris, but then that just goes to that goes to the partying. But it looks like he's gonna be next up for a head coach.
Yeah,
that's what they're saying. Raheem's finally growing into the head coaching position that the Bucs saw, 15 years ago, 14 years ago?
Yeah, it's been a while, right?
Yeah. Which, speaking of the Rams, what do you think of the Aaron Donald sign?
Oh, he signed?
Yeah, I thought he re-signed.
I missed it.
Oh, okay. It looks like, I believe it was yesterday.
Oh, he did? I missed that. I was so caught up in there was nothing else going on in my world except except the Lightning yesterday. That was it for me. Yeah, he did sign.
Yeah, record extension. I believe 3 years onto his
$40 million raise, and we'll see $95 million in totality on a contract that runs through 2024. $65 million guaranteed over the next 2 seasons. Average salary of $31.6 million. That's pretty amazing.
No, I know that's your boy. I know that's your boy.
He's worth it.
Best player ever in the NFL.
He's worth it. They don't win the Super Bowl without Aaron Donald, period.
Like I said, I agree that he is one of the best defensive players right now. Now, that raise, Do you think that LA was scared when he said, "I've done enough and I'm happy if"?
No, I don't.
Retire?
I mean, I don't know that they were scared per se, but you know, it's posturing. It's posturing. They knew it was posturing. He wasn't gonna. He wants to go down as one of the great. He's already one of the greatest of all time, but he wants to go down as the greatest of all time. And now he's got a contract that he has to play up to and live up to. So we could see an even, if it's possible, an even more dominant Aaron Donald. But just looking at his numbers, he is so much better than the next closest D lineman that you could compare to him in an era when there's so much more parity in sport.
Well, defensive tackles normally don't get that many sacks.
Right.
It's more the edge rusher nowadays.
And for his ability to beat double and triple teams is just, it's amazing. And think what it's so disruptive to an offense. The level of disruption that he causes and the way you have to game plan for him and account for him on every single down, and his durability, just everything about him. His heart, he plays tough, he plays hurt, he plays fearlessly. He's just who you want in a football player. Like that's the guy you want on your team leading your defense. And if you're going to pay your best offensive player that type of money, I think the best defensive player deserves that type of money as well. So good for him. I'm happy for him. And, he's going to get paid again handsomely in about 2 more years.
Looks like Bruce Smith came out and said that it wasn't enough money. He deserves more because Bruce Smith, I guess, has said that he is, like you say, one of the best NFL players.
What Bruce Smith said? Well, what does Bruce Smith know, right?
He's a Hall of Famer.
No, I know. That's what I'm saying. You disagreed with me on Aaron Donald last week, but Bruce Smith agrees with me.
I mean, Bruce Smith.
Who agrees with you, Lummy? Hinstar? Little Purple? I got Bruce Smith on my side.
Bruce Smith, what, he have 200 sacks?
He was a pretty fucking dominant player.
He had 200 sacks?
And he's saying...
Brian, how many sacks do you have, Brian?
I don't need sacks if I got Bruce Smith on my side. Hit Bruce Smith... Okay, here. People who support... people on my side of the argument have 200 sacks. How many people on your side of the argument? How many sacks you guys got?
Henstar. He's got 1. Who else agrees with me?
Yeah. No, I'm just saying.
I got nobody.
I'm just saying. It's he is an exceptional, once in a generation type of defensive player. So good for Aaron Donald.
But do you see him starting to slow? Do you think he'll slow down a little bit? Coming. He's 31 now. Do you see him slowing down? Because what's he averaging? About 13 sacks a year?
He's
12,
not
10?
at the point where he's going to slow down yet. He's got 3-4 more years that he's going to be playing as one of the best players in the league.
Okay, now let me ask you this.
Because here's what you have to keep in mind. He's a cerebral player, too. He doesn't just go out there and out-physical you, right? He has the technique. He has the skill. He has the athletic prowess. He has the intelligence. So he goes out there and he beats you in a variety of ways. So he's learned over the years. He's become savvy. He's a veteran now, but he still has all the tools. He doesn't miss games. He hasn't been injured. He has all the tools, man. No, I think Aaron Donald will continue to compete at the highest levels possible for another 5 seasons if he wants to. Okay,
well, now let me ask you this. Do you think it's because of, quote unquote, the diet that they're on, the different workouts? Because, if you looked back in the day, NFL linemen, 35 was like done. 31 were slowing down. If you get to 35, then you played a hell of a career. And not now, like Aaron Donald, 31, how many defensive linemen that, really played that, past 30, that were like exceeding expectations after 31? There's not that many. They started slowing down a little bit.
Yeah.
So, do you think? Let me ask you this: do you think he's on anything?
I'm sure
or has been on anything.
Are, I'm sure.
He is ripped as fuck.
If you're wanting to compete, if you ain't cheating, you ain't trying, as they say.
6'1", 280.
I think they're on thing. He's probably on stuff that's borderline and that he gets away with, but whatever. He hasn't been popped for anything, so I'm not going to sit here and say he's doing anything. I'm just saying that probably most players at that level are doing what they can to gain whatever advantage they can. But good for him, man.
Because I was just saying 6'1", 280. That obviously is very large, and then to be that fast. I can see him being that strong, But
I mean, there's outliers, right? But the other thing, he's got long arms, man. He's got long arms. They're big arms, but he's got long arms, which are an advantage. I want to say I don't know his wingspan, but I'm guessing it's about 3 or 4 inches larger than the average 6'1" guy.
All right, let me see here. Aaron Donald's wingspan. What would you? Let's see. If you had to guess.
So his arm length from the combine
was that
32 and 5/8. Yeah. So okay, here we'll ask Google here.
4.68.
What's the average arm length for a 6'1" male?
You gotta use a Bing.
They do dress shirt length, but I don't think that's the same.
No. You gotta do Bing. Bing probably will be able to answer
Bing.
for you.
Bing might have gotten this for me.
Definitely. I mean, 32 5/8. Yeah.
The length of the average human arm is 25 inches.
Okay, that's pretty long.
So that's the average human. So he's 7 and 5/8 inches longer than the average human. Let's see here.
His hand size is 9 and 7/8.
Yeah, which for a non-quarterback, that's a decent sized hand. I wish we got his wingspan though, because with the chest and everything.
Yeah.
So if his arms, so just his arm length is 65 and a half inches, 65 and a quarter inches, just his arms. Then you take his chest span and add that to him, and that's his wingspan. He's probably 82 inches, 84 inches.
Well, according to this, oh, no, that's not right. All right, I was going to say he has the longest wingspan. It looks like it's Kyle Pitts and DK Metcalf, but they didn't list how long it was.
Oh, DK Metcalf definitely does. But if he's anywhere...
80, looks like in the last 20 years, 83-inch. Kyle Pitts has the longest wingspan in the last 20 years.
Oh, so here
inches.
it is at the combine. So this was when he was, this is going back 8 years. His wingspan was 77.625 inches. For somebody 6'1", I'm guessing that is massive.
Yeah, because Kyle Pitts is what, 6'5", 6'4", and DK Metcalf is 6'4", too, 6'5"?
Yeah, so they're 3 or 4 inches taller than Aaron Donald, and that was his wingspan at the combine.
And Aaron Donald's thicker now, like he's
wider. Yeah, well, his weight, I don't know. His weight at the combine was 285. So he's actually slimmed down 5 pounds.
Well, muscle weighs more than fat.
Yeah, that's true too.
So I mean, he's.
But even let's say his wingspan is 78 inches. That's
huge.
That's huge for a 6'1" guy. That's massive. Because that's like 5 inches. His arms are probably 2.5 inches longer than the average person his size.
So put it this way, Clowney, Jadeveon Clowney, he's 6'5" and a quarter, and he was 83.
Oh, that's impressive though.
Yeah, but I mean, he hasn't really done much. But I mean, whatever, it is what it is.
Yeah, maybe he's not. Maybe his arms just look long to me. 32.5 inches seems pretty long.
No, I mean, obviously he gets off the ball quick.
Yeah,
he's able to hit the offensive lineman with enough pop, so they can't. Because a lot of offensive linemen obviously have good wingspan, being most of them are between 6'3" to 6'6". So he's able to beat them around. I mean, obviously he has a lot of force going right behind it too. So I mean, I don't know. I agree with you now that we got Bruce Smith on board. 813. That's all you needed, Brian, was Bruce Smith.
All right.
So you guys are talking about wingspans. There was a guy a few years back that had the biggest wingspan I think I've ever seen, and huge biceps that measured in. I think he repped like 32 also.
What did he play? Quarterback, tight end? What did he play?
Well, they tried to make it move him to quarterback, the 2 tight end, but he was a quarterback. Phenomenal athlete.
Are you talking about Tim Tebow?
That's correct. Massive arm speed.
See, Brian, if you look at that, you have a Tim Tebow person here that's talking about how Tim Tebow has.
Well, you know what? Maybe the Jaguars will bring him in and give him a shot at D tackle.
I say they make him the quarterback.
Make him go for D tackle. I think he's got it in him.
Is Tim Tebow making a comeback in football?
I don't know. The guy just lost his dog. I think he's going to get back in the booth.
Brian,
do it all, though.
Brian, do you have any? Do you think Tim Tebow's making a comeback?
No. I think Colin Kaepernick has a better chance at this point.
Oh, that's just hard. That's
It's the truth. Okay, Lummy, you've got to build a team right now, and you have a choice to draft Tim Tebow or Colin Kaepernick. Who you taking? Because they're both as big of a distraction to the locker room.
Unfortunately, I'm taking Tim Tebow because at least he might have God on his side.
You don't know that Kaepernick doesn't have God on his side.
Come on.
What? What has he done that makes him ungodly?
What has he done?
Yeah.
He has
He has no criminal record.
He has a tattoo that says God's not real.
Does he?
No. That was all hypothetical.
Okay. I'm just saying.
I mean, yeah, honestly, I'd pick Tim Tebow. He's a better leader in the locker room.
How do you know? You've been in the locker room with both of them?
Yeah, I've talked to him, and this guy played probably with Tim Tebow. Did you play with Tim Tebow, sir?
Back at Nice on the baseball team, though.
Yeah, so he knows all about it. He was a good leader, right?
I mean, he was all right.
He's not even throwing you the ball.
All right, thank you, 813. I'm going to my new favorite caller, 443. Way to leave me hanging there.
He was okay, I guess.
Yeah, jeez. Thanks a lot.
What's happening, y'all?
No, what's up?
What's up, Little Purple?
Long time no talk.
Yeah, man. How's it going? I saw your boy flinging it 50 yards off his knees the other day.
Oh, he's shredded.
Yeah, he's playing for that next contract, not in Baltimore. I'm excited for him.
The funny thing is, I heard from a lot of different people that they've seen offensive linemen and everyone else throw 50 yards from their knees. It's called hitting the guy in the chest.
Lummy, I heard you're good from your knees too.
Yeah.
Well, he's good on all fours, actually.
Yeah, and I'll throw the ball 50 yards too while I'm at it.
While he's getting pegged.
Yeah.
Okay, so you guys want to talk Lamar Jackson and not Live Golf?
No, Live Golf is an amazing turn of events here.
That was actually
talk about a desperation move by Live Golf.
Look at that. My number one topic to bring up with Brian was Live Talk.
To turn around. So they offered Tiger Woods 9 figures, was the rumor. And
high 9 figures.
High 9 figures. But then to turn around and have to desperately give that to a fading Dustin Johnson because you don't have any other big star names that you've gotten to come over permanently to your tour is kind of a move of desperation on both of their parts.
I mean, they've got. Obviously they have Phil. They have Kevin Na.
They don't have Phil. Phil hasn't relinquished his tour card.
Correct.
So,
I know.
So these guys Kevin Na, really, how many people in the world have ever turned on a golf tournament that they could watch Kevin Na?
Hold on, but
I'm not disagreeing with you.
They can still play. They can still play in the majors, correct?
Yes, the majors are, and the U.S.
It depends on what the major decides to do.
The U.S. Open has already announced that they're going to allow them to play.
So let me ask you this, Brian. Kevin Na, right? He's out there in the Live tournament. He's crushing it, whatever. And then he goes to the U.S. Open and gets first or second. That's a huge boost. I mean, they're going to want these mediocre players to come up and dominate.
One thing with the majors, though. So once they switch to the Live Golf Tour, and if the PGA Tour does not allow them to come back, the Live Golf Tour is not going to go towards their world ranking, which drops them in the ability to get to majors. So if you haven't won the major before and have like that exception or exemption, eventually nobody's going to be playing in majors unless they've already won the major.
So they've got 3 top 30 golfers. They've got Dustin Johnson, Louis Oosthuizen, and Bryson DeChambeau. Okay. Now, realistically, though, Bryson.
They got Patrick Reed. Where's he at?
I thought they had more than. I thought they had like 4 or 5 guys.
When did they get Reed?
Today.
Oh, they got him today. This is an article from yesterday. So, but these guys that they're getting, I think they're paying them buco bucks for one-off tournaments at this point. They're trying to get eyeballs on the TV so that they can then
on TV,
try and lure. They're airing it somewhere.
YouTube, that's it.
Yeah, well, TV, YouTube.
But you know what's going to happen is Fox is going to pick up on it, and because Fox is the only one right now without golf.
But they are trying to get
also Ricky Fowler.
Yeah, and again, these are not guys that are other than Patrick Reed, and he's even faded. These are not guys that are competing right now at this moment, week in and week out on the PGA Tour. DJ's had
I don't know. Have you heard of Blake Windred? Come on now.
Yeah, I mean, they've got Sergio, but again, none of these are the guys they're getting on as one-offs.
But Brian,
it's not guys who have said I am. The only major player that said I'm leaving the PGA and going over to this is Dustin Johnson. That they had to pay him over $100 million to get him to do that. They can't do that with many more.
But hold on, Brian. What if this? Say these guys and they do go back to the U.S. Open, right? And they're sitting there like, yeah, we're making $100 million, we're doing good. And they go there and they're competing in the U.S. Open and they're talking to the guys. You don't think those guys are going to go, man? I made $2 million. I won this last tournament. These guys are making $10 million to win their tournament. I'm going to go check that out, and they're going to keep flip flopping. Well, I mean, once they start getting 1, 2, I mean,
you've got the stigma of the Saudi money though, and everything with that attached to it. It's not as easy as just there's another league that's competing. This is bigger. This has to do with brands. This has to do with individual players. Like they threw so much money at Dustin Johnson that he couldn't say no. But they're not doing that for everybody else. And so there's only 8, and they're going to expand it, but right now there's only 8 events planned. So, you're not going to be, if you're a golfer who's not making the cuts or not competing legitimately for championships on the tour and even the LIV tour, then it's not necessarily going to be a ton more money for you.
But the prize, like the purse of these tournaments, are insane.
No, I understand it's like 5 times that of a normal golf, 4 to 5 times that of a normal PGA Tour event. I get that.
Got $255 million in purse split up with 8 tournaments. I think it's like 30-some million per, where a PGA tournament is roughly 9 to 12 million.
Yeah, no, 3 to 4 times what the PGA Tour is offering. I get that. But they it's not, these aren't names. The problem for them is they have a few. I will say they did a good job of building their initial field that people will be intrigued by, and that there's enough names, including Phil, DJ, Bryson, Louis, Sergio, and such to tune in. But
did you see what a Tiger turned down?
I can only imagine it was probably like $300 million.
They
said that it perhaps might have been close to $1 billion.
I mean,
yeah. I heard it was like 750 to 900,
which the Saudis could afford it at this point.
Well, they've got $2 billion invested, like earmarked for it. But giving $1 billion of that to one person is is probably not the best investment. If Tiger wasn't injured, it might be a better one, but I don't even know how many tournaments Tiger has left in him.
Yeah, but just having the name there, and
it helps. It draws. Well, no, you want to talk about somebody who moves the needle and actually gets you viewers and get you a TV contract and get you legitimacy. It's Tiger Woods,
and then you got Tiger and Phil.
Yeah, I don't know that that DJ does it.
I think just the curiosity of it all is going to be enough, at least for the first one.
And how's the curiosity factor work out for like XFL and stuff like that, though, right? And that's the problem. At the end of the day, you have to have star power, and you have to have people that make you want to watch.
But if you look at the 80s with the USFL, if they had the money to back and they had the TV money nowadays, the USFL was dropping money on all those good players, and it was a fun league. They weren't really on TV. It was back in the 80s. The USFL now, that old league, if it would be now, and they had the players and the team, going after the draft, and the NFL could be in trouble. I mean, NFL is too big now, but that would have worked. They were paying Herschel Walker, Jim Kelly, Steve. I mean, if you think about all the guys that they had in the beginning, the USFL could have worked. They just didn't have enough money in TV revenue.
Yeah, and it's going to be interesting to see. I mean, how many Americans want to see, if America's their biggest market that they're looking for, how many Americans want to watch European and South African golfers predominantly in a tour event?
I like that.
Well, okay, but my point being and remaining that it is the American golfers that move the needle, a few of the European golfers, but it's for the most part it's the American golfers. They've got a couple names. One big one that's committed. It'll be interesting to see how it plays out. They need more than what they currently have. They've got to build on this, and they've got to get about 3 more big name top 25 type golfers to come over to really have a chance. Because
I think what it's going to take is all it's going to take to get those bigger names is they need to have the first and second, maybe third tournament run smoothly with good words about it, and people actually getting paid and everything like that. And then you're going to see people start switching over.
What they really need to do is do things to differentiate yourself from the PGA. Do like on-course player interviews. Like after a player makes an eagle, go over and talk to him. And say, well, what were you thinking there? What'd you see? That sort of insight immediately after a play happens, a hole happens, a shot happens, I think that fans would find interesting. And do things to differentiate yourself.
Yeah, I mean, they're doing teams. They've got no cuts. They're doing a shotgun start. It's only 54 holes instead of 72. But yeah, I mean, we'll see what happens.
But see, those changes, I mean, no cuts, nobody cares. So you're gonna have fucking golfers that are 20 strokes off the lead hanging around. I mean, that's not a needle mover. And 54 instead of 72, again, nobody cares. Nobody was watching, other than a major. Nobody's watching golf on Thursdays, anyways. So
speak for yourself.
Okay, degenerate gamblers are watching golf on Thursdays. Nobody else is watching golf on Thursdays. They're all working their jobs, and so those aren't needle moving changes. Those aren't things that get you to say, "Oh, wow, this is a totally different beast."
All right, who wins the U.S. Open?
Dustin Johnson.
Wild.
I'm kidding. It's Man, the U.S. Open, you gotta have length now. It's such a tough tournament. I mean, it's hard to go against Scottie Scheffler with what he's doing. He's just so consistent right now.
I think JT goes back-to-back majors.
He could. It's possible.
I also really want to see Spieth win one soon.
I don't. He's boring. He's boring as fuck.
Yeah, he's super boring.
You're boring.
He's fucking milquetoast. You would like him.
Yeah, milquetoast.
You're all right. That's enough golf for today. We're boring people.
Yeah, we're going John Rahm.
Well, don't bring us into it. You're boring people. Lummy and I are going to move on, though. Take care.
Bye.
Well, the big controversy now with the LIV too is, I guess the PGA is doing a big hit job on them and announcing all that.
Well, the PGA is scared.
Oh, of course,
they're scared, and here's the thing though, is that. So first of all, look at the dynamics and the demographics of the average golf viewer, right? Rich, white, middle-aged men, period. Yep. That is their P1, 2, 3, okay? Those companies are conservative companies. You've got your Charles Schwabs, your Bright House Financials, your these blue chip type companies. They're not going to invest with Saudi blood money. They're not going to tie their name to the controversy that is LIV. And so the problem is not necessarily that they won't have the corporate money, because they have the Saudi money, but the corporate sponsorship magnifies and elevates the product and the brand. So when you have these corporate partners touting their partnership with the PGA and having these spokespeople and the money invested in these golfers for endorsements and things like that, it makes a huge difference. So that's another hurdle that LIV's going to have to overcome.
Well, I guess they've been also putting out a lot of the different companies that have taken Saudi money, and I guess that's what they're trying to get, like a big, whodunit on Saudi Arabia. Like Uber, Disney, like a lot of, like they're trying to call out these big companies that have been investing.
LIV is or the PGA?
No, Saudi, PGA is. The PGA is trying to call out like Saudi Arabia, like, hey, you got it, like they're bad people, they're investing in this, that, and they're trying to, kind of call them out, and then point out all these other things, get more people upset, and see where that goes, because obviously the PGA is scared.
I mean, they're worried because they obviously they don't have a, gigantic cabal country backing them with billions of dollars in guaranteed money. And they are bigger than just their tournaments, right? They have a lot of other stuff that they do with professionals and courses and lessons and things like that. So it's interesting. It's interesting. It'll be interesting to see too, like, what does DeChambeau and DJ's sponsors do? What, do they withdraw? how many are going to stick around for this?
It's going to be tough too, because if the PGA comes down and says, "Well, you do business with him, you can't do it with us," like a Catalyst.
Yeah, no, it's
Callaway,
absolutely
Callaway and Titleist and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I mean, they've got a lot of aging golfers. They got Westwood, Kamer, Mickelson,
Fred Couples, Ernie Els.
Yeah.
What's his name? Vlad.
Hmm.
Who was the Indian? Vijay Singh.
Oh, VJ. Yeah.
I used to like him.
But none of these guys really move the needle, right?
No, I mean, I like watching golf. I like playing golf more. I don't mind watching golf, but I'm not going to tune in. You'd say I'm an average golf fan.
I will pay attention to it, casually, just to see what's going on with it. But it's interesting to see. It'll be interesting to see what happens, and how this progresses. I think one of the huge mistakes they made was not doing their first tournament in the U.S. They should have done it at maybe not Trump National. I know that's where they're doing their last one, but they should have picked a course in the U.S. to host the very first one. By doing it in England, I think is a mistake.
Yeah, it doesn't draw the attention so the U.S.
Not the same level, not where there's media coverage, where all ESPN's sending their reporter there to talk about what's going on and how things are different, and really doing a deep dive into it.
And you're getting the fans there, just kind of
bringing the fans in. I mean, ultimately, 4 of the last 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of the last 7 tournaments are in the U.S. But their first one should have been. That was a mistake.
I guess we'll see how that turns up. I want to head back over to football with the Broncos. Broncos sell. What's your opinion on the $4.65 billion from the
Walmart family, huh?
Waltons.
I think they're going to have a hard time, finding all their players in China, and they're going to outsource Russell Wilson. No, I mean, look, it's an owner. I rarely cheer for teams based upon who owns the team. I don't think it really matters. It's good for them. He's got more money than God. So
$59 billion.
Yeah. So they don't need to worry about an owner struggling to make payroll or to spend and compete. It's if he wants it, he's got it. Good for them. Move on. I don't care. Who owns the Vikings?
Guy.
You don't know.
No.
Who owns the
Cincinnati
Chargers?
Marchot. Oh, that's that family. That's that family. They have the brother and sister that are fighting.
My point being,
you don't know really the names of the owners.
Point being is you generally don't even really want to know the owner of who owns the sports franchise. I mean, if we weren't local with the Glazers, if you ask the average person in the middle of Omaha, Nebraska, who owns the Bucks, they're not going to know.
Well, I mean, it seems like lately, like the family-owned ones, the Chargers, when the Broncos owned it. I mean, obviously the newer guys like Seattle. What's his Tim Cook? Is that who it is? The Seattle's guy.
Yeah.
And then you got the Panthers guy. What's his name that owns the Browns with the Flying Jays? The Jaguars guy that owns AEW.
Yeah, but you don't care though, right? Like it doesn't factor into whether or not you're pulling for or against a team to win.
Well, my point of bringing up the $4.65 billion is like how much do you see the next NFL team sell for? I mean,
as much as somebody is. I've always said this. When I see these Forbes listings, I fucking laugh at them. They're stupid. They're meaningless. They're idiotic. This is an elite and exclusive club that people are buying for prestige now. And when you're talking about the level of wealth and the disparity of wealth we have in this world and in this country, you've got so many billionaires that have the money to drop down on this. And if they want into that club, they're getting in and they're going to buy their way in. And the cost to get in is expensive because there's only, for the NFL, there's only 32 teams, 32 spots.
Because right now it looks like the Commanders, are going to be the next team probably up for sale if they could push Dan Snyder out.
Well, and just to be clear, I don't care about Dan Snyder. When I talked about the owners, the other owners care because of the brand and protecting the brand. So it's not me saying Dan Snyder needs to be forced to sell the Commanders. It's the other owners saying, how do we force this guy to have to sell?
Yeah, but let me without technically the NFL, and I could be wrong on this one, but without really the NFL calling out and doing the investigation in the Washington football team, Commanders, whatever you want to call them, realistically, no one really knows what Dan Snyder's doing. Correct?
What?
Like leaking the emails, all the investigations. It's not like, he's tanking the team. I mean, he is trying to win.
Oh, these other owners know what he's up to.
But that's what I'm saying.
They know, and they want him out. So that's all you need to know, right? Yeah, but they know what he's all about, and they want him out.
Oh, no, I agree. I'm saying he's not in the public, right? He's not in the public just being, some party animal. He's doing, he has 66 women coming over and giving him massages. I'm saying that he's doing it to where the owners are the only ones that know. So you think they would almost do it kind of quietly, but they're making a bigger deal because obviously they can't push him out. But I'm saying he's not some like party animal that it's embarrassing the NFL in public. They don't like him. The owners don't like him. The owners want to get rid of him.
Well, no, they don't like him because they're afraid of what's going to come out about him. They know his deep, dark secrets, and they know he's a problem.
But hasn't Daniel Snyder not been liked since he pretty much bought the team? Didn't they always call him like he's just this rich guy?
I mean, but they all are. I mean, if now all the newer owners are just rich guys, so I mean, they're all just fucking rich guys.
Well, no, but
there's old money and new money, but that's irrelevant at this point.
Yeah, but I was saying, I remember seeing Dan Snyder. He was on commercials when he first bought the team, and they were like, "Oh, this guy." And remember, Daniel Snyder was blowing a ton of money. He was buying all the players.
They may have been mad that he was out spending like a fool and everything like that, but they weren't trying to they didn't hate him to the point they wanted him out of the league.
Well, I think at that point, too, he was one of the richer owners.
But they're also happy. Look, they're thrilled that the Broncos sold for $4.65 billion.
Oh, yeah, because it's going to help their team.
Because now you're looking at your team, you're like, oh, if I'm the Cowboys, I could probably get $8 billion, $10 billion for my team.
Yeah, Jerry Jones is never selling the Cowboys.
No, he's never selling it.
The Chargers, though.
Yeah, they're not worth as much as the Broncos, but yeah, I mean, you're the second fiddle in L.A.
You don't think they would sell and then try to move back to San Diego?
I mean, I don't know.
I mean, it's smart. They had a good fan base in San Diego.
They went in halvesies on a very expensive stadium complex in L.A. I don't think they're going anywhere.
Well, that's what Al Davis used to do. Oakland, L.A., Oakland,
yeah,
L.A.
Whatever. It's a different time now.
It's a different time. I get it. All right, well, I mean, yeah, you can see where it's going with Denver. Now the next one is it's coming out, your boy Deshaun Watson. Your boy.
Yeah.
66 women.
Yeah.
In 17 months.
Where's this all coming from?
A report?
Yeah, where's the report coming from? I'm telling you right now. You ready for this?
Yeah.
All of this is being driven by the Texans. All of it.
So they're dropping this?
Everything. They knew of everything that he did. They knew that they are intentionally trying to submarine him now because their draft picks are tied to the Cleveland Browns' success. Mm-hmm. So Cleveland performs poorly, the Texans get better picks. They have the owner of the Texans has an absolute vendetta. First of all, we know they're a racist organization. Second of all, he hasn't.
Oh, do we know it's a racist organization?
I mean, if you listen to what the players say, yes.
I'm just asking. I don't know.
I mean, based upon what the players say, if you believe them, do you believe Hopkins? No.
Yeah. I mean, no. He hasn't really come out and said anything else.
Right. He hasn't been a troublemaker. He doesn't have a history of that, but he called them out on it. But even if you take that element out of it. This is a vendetta that they're running against Deshaun Watson. Now, Deshaun Watson could be guilty. I'm not saying he's innocent, guilty, or whatever. I'm saying, why is this coming out now? Who's leaking it? Who stands to gain from it? And all signs point to the Texans.
Browns would be really fucked with that guaranteed money.
Yeah, the Texans did their head coach a real favor by hiring a black head coach. Come coach this team who we're not going to try to win.
Lovie Smith?
We're not going to try to win. We're not going to do anything to help you win. We're not going to spend a dime on anybody, but come on, coach for us.
Lovie Smith, he's going to turn that team around.
Yep. Right around.
Yeah, but they're saying also
do a complete 360.
So you're saying the Texans literally buried this?
I think that they kept it under wraps as much as they could, and now they're trying to sabotage the Browns to get the most they can out of that trade.
And I know that you definitely hate Baker Mayfield, but I think that would be pretty funny if the Texans landed Baker Mayfield and he led them to maybe the playoffs.
Oh, no, the Browns need Baker Mayfield right now.
But the Browns,
they spent money to win now. Like they've mortgaged their future for the next 3 or 4 seasons, right? Like this is their window to win a championship or compete for a championship.
They got Jacoby Brissett.
Uh-huh. I'm talking about winning championships, not going 9-8.
So what do you think comes from this from your lawyer's perspective?
I don't know. I really don't know where this heads. I have a feeling Deshaun Watson won't be playing a game this year.
Really?
Yeah.
66 massages over 17 months. That's like one a week.
Yeah, it's not that bad. And the team
not that bad.
Hold on, not just that. The Texans were aware of it.
Hold on. What a week from a different woman.
Yeah.
That's not that bad?
No. He's a professional athlete.
No, I know, but they said that some of the massage therapists would come back multiple times a week. This is a 66 massage therapist.
Yeah, he's trying to maintain himself. How do you think Aaron Donald's so good? He had 87 massage therapists in 17 months. I'm just joking.
He massage. Yeah, but why like right there that actually screams like why are you doing 66 different therapists over 17 months? I mean, usually if you found a good, therapist, you're going to stick with them, right? Wouldn't you?
Well, maybe he didn't. He was more looking for selection, variety rather than.
Now, do you think this is something that started with him in college? Because obviously it had to be something that when it happened once or twice and it was easy, that he just assumed that it was always going to happen.
I really don't know the whole story. I have to imagine that there's truth to the allegations, but I mean, even if you look at just the timing and the way all of this is unfolded, it really feels like it's being driven by one individual. And I have to imagine, given the cushy relationship between the attorney involved and the owner of the Texans, and given the timing of the release of some of this quote unquote new information to the New York Times, that this is a it could be truthful, but a conspiracy against Deshaun Watson at this point in time.
Now, if you're representing Deshaun Watson, and he's guaranteed $215 million?
Well, only like $1 million this year.
Yeah, but I'm saying,
yeah.
Are you pretty much telling them sign $1 million to each person? $66 million.
Well, the problem is that they're being funded by the owner of the Texans through dirty, back end around ways and stuff that they may not just be interested in $1 million each.
So you think they're gonna?
Well, and apparently, I heard a rumor that the non-disclosure agreements that he had them all sign was also provided to him from the team, from the Texans.
Yes, that is true.
Yeah. I mean, and
the Texans declined to comment on the NDA.
Yeah, all signs point to, look, he's probably a bad dude, probably. Great football player. But all signs point to the Texans trying to fuck him over here.
I mean,
I don't know how you punish Deshaun Watson and not the Texans franchise at this point if you're the NFL. Like, how can you suspend him when they knew what was going on? If you're going to take the position of a non-disclosure agreement's not normal for a typical massage, okay, well, the Texans knew it and gave it to him.
Technically, I can see where the Texans, because look, if a massage therapist is coming in, they, you got one person that comes in, they can see the playbook, they look at a couple of plays, they hear a couple different things. I can see where you got to have them sign an NDA.
Maybe.
Right? I mean,
maybe the Texans have them sign them, but you don't rely on Deshaun Watson to secure that for you.
So you think the Texans were setting him up the whole time?
I don't know that they were setting him up. Maybe they wanted dirt on him. I just think they were complicit. They knew or should have known about what was going on. And for them to just trade him off and then get the benefit of the draft picks and everything and not have to deal with any of the fallout is, and The Browns were the Browns did the most Brown thing. I mean, it's
the Browns.
They are the Browns for a reason, and they will not win an NFL Super Bowl championship anytime soon. It's not going to happen. But I don't know how you just let the Texans off the hook here. If you're the NFL, you have to investigate them as well.
Well, the Texans have come out and said that they only found out about this allegation March 2021 when the first lawsuit was filed.
Mm-hmm. Sure. I'm sure they didn't hear anything else, and they had no clue. And that's why they were providing Deshaun Watson with non-disclosure agreements to have his massage therapist sign.
And Roger Goodell said that they're almost to the end of their investigation.
Oh, no. The league is going to protect the Texans. Don't get me wrong.
And they're going to protect, I think...
they're going to protect the owner. They're going to protect the Texans. That nothing is going to happen to the Texans. If anything, it's going to be extremely minimal. But... at some point, you got to look at the organization and say, maybe we should punish them. You want to send a real message? Don't punish the player. Don't punish the dealer.
Roger Goodell is not going to punish the team.
No,
especially the Texans.
Yeah,
because I mean they're already down and out. They're still they're what the last new franchise, correct? The Houston Texans? They're the last new franchise.
Yeah, they're the most recent franchise.
Yeah. I don't.
The last new one.
Whatever. You know what I'm saying. I'm a little dumbfounded. I was really hoping that the Bucs would get Watson, but
I'm glad. At this point, I'm very glad. That
I'm
they
super
did not.
happy they didn't get it because I can.
Now the only reason I
happened.
wanted Watson was if we lost Brady.
But now we'd be sitting here looking at Kyle Trask or Blaine Gabbert, your buddy.
Oh,
Blaine Gabbert could be starting.
Don't ever say that. Shut your whore mouth.
He could be starting right now. We could be sitting here going, the 66 massage therapist, he's got 6 down at Mons Venus. Blaine Gabbert starting now for us.
Ugh.
My ticket went from a good, selling for $4,000 a seat for the Packers to I can't give them away.
You'd still get money.
How?
Because people pay to see the team that are visiting. We have enough.
Yeah, we have a good schedule.
Yeah, we definitely have a good enough schedule to get money.
And it would help their, the team because they'd be blowing us out, 56-0 with your boy Blaine Gabbert.
Well, it wouldn't be 56-0. It'd be more like constantly losing 35-21. It would get really old. Frustrating.
You don't think they just blow it? Well, I mean, that's still whatever.
No, you can't blow it up when you have that much money invested. You can't.
Everyone would leave.
They would. They wouldn't have Well, first of all, we're not even having this conversation because half the free agents that re-signed would not be here right now.
Yeah, Fournette was up in New England.
Fournette's gone. Gronk, assuming he comes back, is gone.
Did you see the text that Tom Brady?
Godwin's gone.
Tom Brady sent to Fournette when he was in New England?
Yeah. What is your ass doing up there? Yeah, that was pretty funny. And then he signed in Tampa the next day.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
You got to be feeling good about it.
I mean, I don't blame Fournette. You got to increase the value that you get from the Bucs, and the only way to do that is to have another bidder. Fournette is it's amazing to me because it seems like he's been in the NFL for 22 years, but he's in his he just finished his 5th season. Like that's
what the Jaguars would do to you, though.
That's nuts, though, isn't it? Like you think of the name Leonard Fournette, and you're like, oh my god, that guy's probably 33 years old.
Yeah, I would have said that.
No, he's 27.
I would have said he came out in 2005.
Yeah, he just finished his 5th season, and what's even crazier about it, the Jaguars cut him after he had his best season out of his entire career, including his time with Tampa Bay. His last year in Jacksonville before they cut him.
Yeah, but I think he was so miserable.
But why? Why did they do that? They got nothing for him. They had to pay money to get rid of him. It baffles the mind. That is, well, I want a deep dive. I want an investigative reporter to do a deep dive, a real deep dive into Leonard Fournette's the end of his relationship with the Jaguars because it makes no fucking sense.
Well, all right. So remember that
unless
year,
you're tanking and at that point you're tanking for Trevor. But that was even before.
No. Urban Meyer was on the boat with who's the owner? Shaw, right?
Yeah.
That's when Urban Meyer was his he was his advisor.
Okay.
Remember when they said Urban Meyer was advising him and they were going to plan on the next coach, and then Urban Meyer came out and said, "Oh, I can be the next coach." He was advising him on what to do with the team. So I'm sure because if the rumors are true, Urban Meyer said everyone that comes out of the SEC or in the South are just dumb.
Okay, here's a question for you. Ready?
Yep.
Who wins a Super Bowl first? The Browns, the Jets, the Jaguars, or the Texans?
Well, I mean, technically the Browns have to do with what goes on with Deshaun Watson. If I was going to, who would win it?
Who's going to win? Who's going to be the first of those 4 teams to win a Super Bowl next? The Browns, the Jets, the Texans, or the Jaguars?
That's a tough question. I guess I mean I would say the Browns just because their roster looks better, but their roster looks good every year. The Jaguars, I just don't see them doing anything. I guess right at this point I'd head to the Jets.
Yeah.
What about you?
I mean, I think that so when you're factoring this in, you have to also look at who's in their division, right? Because home field means a lot.
Yep.
And getting a bye, being able to get a bye means a lot. The problem for the Jets is that the Buffalo Bills are in the middle of a 5 or 6 year, 7 year window of being potentially competitive.
And the Dolphins, if they actually got a better quarterback. If they got a better quarterback.
The Dolphins will be mediocre for a while, and then the Patriots are still there. Who knows, right? Maybe Belichick's got his guy. Maybe his system's going to work, and so that's tough for them. Then you look at the Browns. Okay, the Steelers are rebuilding, but you've got the Ravens who are going to be competitive. You got the Bengals who are young and talented. You got some competition there.
Yeah.
You look at the Jags. You got Tennessee. They're in the midst of a potential quarterback controversy. They just traded away their number 1 wide receiver, and they're relying on a running back who just got hurt, and they overplay. You got the Colts who brought in Matt Ryan, so maybe they have 2-year window of competing, and then you got the Texans and the Jaguars. So if I'm picking one of those 2 teams, I'm going with the Texans or if one of those 4 teams, I'm going with the Texans or the Jaguars. Simply for the fact that they have a chance to win their division sooner than I think the Jets or the Browns do. So I give me Jacksonville with what they currently have on their roster.
But see, you got the Bills are going to be there. But if the Jets hit that wild card, they could run because the Dolphins, who knows what they do? Tua doesn't come through.
No, I'm asking from the standpoint of competition. Who would you rather be in that position?
Oh.
Would you rather be now? I get it. And I agree with you. Right now, based on roster talent and position, the Jets seem to be in a better position. Although we don't know that Wilson is going to be.
Yeah, but like you're saying, that conference is a lot harder at this point.
Yeah, that division's tougher. I think the AFC South is the most winnable for a team over the next 3, 4, 5 years. I don't think any of those teams are going to win a Super Bowl in the next 5 years.
The crazy thing is Tennessee and Indianapolis, the 2 top teams, their 2 best players are running backs.
Yeah.
Which, that's not how the NFL works these days.
They're the only 2 teams in the NFL that have that.
They rely on their running backs, which that doesn't pan out
They're
too well.
literally the only 2 teams in the NFL that have that, and they're in the same division, and they're the best 2 teams in their division. And if the Colts hadn't been stupid and brought in Wentz, they might have actually had a chance this season.
Yeah, well, they've already admitted that they made a mistake, Jim Irsay or whatever.
No, Daniel Snyder said they didn't. They did make a mistake trading us Carson Wentz.
Yeah, good luck on that one.
Wentz to McLaurin. Wentz to McLaurin. You're going to hear it all season long.
It's going to be Wentz is sacked. Wentz is down. Wentz is sacked. Wentz is hurt.
Wentz wincing. Wentz wincing.
He's out.
Yeah.
Well, thank you, Brian.
Thank you, Lummy. It's always fun. It's always an honor to be here with the most over person in the Bubba Army world.
I know. Babyface. I mean, it's. I love it. I'm glad you're here every time, Brian. You are amazing.
We are amazing. Together, we are unstoppable. I think maybe some are saying the greatest sports show duo in the history of internet radio on Wednesdays, middays. Late afternoons.
From 4 to 5:30.
Sometimes lunchtime.
If Bubba's not on his bike recording.
How'd Bubba do with that? He was going upstairs as I came in, and to do some work, I guess, up in the office or something, and he just yelled at me and told me to hurry the F up and get into the studio that I was late.
Oh, at least he looked at the time then. So I think he was dropping his bike off and probably heading on out.
Yeah. So, anyways.
Next week, we will be back here at 4 unless something crazy comes up. I appreciate everyone tuning in. We are live tomorrow, twitch.tv/the Bubba Army. And for all your Bubba merch, you go to BubbaArmyShop.com. Thank you, everyone. We'll see you next week. See you.